Hello again, Joe DeForest from Comprehensive Emergency Management Associates. Our 10 for the team topic for today is advanced drilling practices. You will recall that drills are a type of emergency exercises, and there's an awful lot to be said. You can dig very, very deeply into this topic, but we're going to cover just a few things in our 10 minutes that we think that will help you do a better job of drilling in your facility. Once again, if you've not already, the only thing that you need to accompany this video is your emergency action checklist. Again, I just refer you back to that plan, train, and exercise cycle. We've done the planning. We are in the midst of training as we speak on this video, and drilling is that third component, simulating a real event in order to see how we do in our reaction to that event, and what we in particular take away from any kind of drill or exercise is first, what went well. We want to identify that, capture it, and hold it tight. And secondly, what didn't go so well, where were our deficiencies, because they suggest that we've had something fall short in either our planning or our training. So that's how we approach this process of disaster exercising in the schools. We call it drilling. You're all slide 4. You're all familiar with the state-required standard drills occurring in schools all over the state of Michigan, but let's just say it again out loud. From Public Act 337 as amended in the year 2006, you are now required to run a minimum of 6 fire drills. And when you think about it, fire drills are really just a subset of the larger category of evacuation drills. You're required to run 2 tornado drills, again, a subset of the category that we call sheltering. And thirdly, and most recently added to the state requirements, are 2 lockdown drills, which again are a subset, a specific type of sheltering. So 8 drills in total are required by state law: 6 fire, 2 tornado, and 2 lockdown. Today we're going to cover 3 topics for advanced drilling practices. Some of you may have already done some of these. If so, congratulations on taking your drilling to the next level. The first topic is alternating times. Typically, we have a tendency to plan our drills at the most convenient times for education and for the classroom. So most of them occur literally in the middle of a classroom, period. We strongly suggest, as the building administrator, you principals intentionally pick alternative times when you've got kids outside at recess, during the lunch hour, even perhaps in assembly. We understand that these sort of practices are difficult, and that's why they're avoided. But there is nothing about an emergency that has agreed in any way to be convenient for you. They very often occur at the most inconvenient moments, and therefore we should be practicing at those moments as well. Second of all, blocking halls or exits. In an evacuation drill, our standard advice is to move in the most direct route to the nearest door that will give you a safe exit from the building. We practice that over and over again, and most of us are very good at it. However, there's nothing to say that a particular exit won't be blocked by the event itself, a fire, smoke, a chemical spill, or some other physical impediment. So please make sure that you occasionally set up a physical impediment, perhaps nothing more than the principal standing in front of a particular door and saying, "This door is not available today. Please execute your alternate plan." And finally, release from lockdown. We're practicing lockdown drills and have been for several years. However, in most cases, our practice is to simply make an announcement over the PA or similarly to the school as a whole that the drill is over and they can return to normal educational activities. This is not consistent with how we should be conducting a real lockdown. In a real lockdown, An authorized adult should appear at every single classroom door with a set of keys, enter with the correct set of keys, and then make a personal announcement that the lockdown has ended. There's a saying in the military that we train the way we fight, and we need to apply this saying in our schools as well. We need to train the way we will actually fight in a real situation. So in this case, principals, we implore you, we understand it's difficult and challenging and time-consuming. However, if you get in the habit of releasing your classes with a PA announcement in a real event, if somebody takes over that PA system, we suddenly lose all the security that we've taken the time to build by creating the lockdown. So, end your drill in the way it would actually be ended in a real event. Go around to each and every classroom, open the door with your personal set of keys, announce to the teacher and the class that in this case the drill is over, reminding them at the same time that in a real event it would either be law enforcement, a principal, or another person who has an actual set of keys and allows themselves in. We have a tendency to try to plan big, fancy drills both at the schools level and in our communities and in our institutions. They're nice and they have their place, but there is nothing especially valuable about a big, complex drill. Small, simple drills can be powerful tools, and they're much friendlier for you in terms of convenience and the amount of time that you can allocate for such drills. We suggest 2 or 3 easy approaches to how to get more drilling into your school year. There's something in our industry called lunch and learn. Do you ever occasionally sit down and have lunch in the lunchroom with all or part of your staff? That's an opportune moment to spend 5 minutes with staff and discuss a portion of your emergency plans. How about regularly scheduled staff meetings, taking the first 5 or 10 minutes in each and every one to discuss an emergency planning topic, a page out of your emergency action checklist, problems that were observed in your last drill, is a powerful way to train and reinforce information, and also clearly communicates your commitment to the safety and preparedness in our schools. You might have some other opportunities and ideas for great times to drill. Again, they don't have to be big and fancy. 5 stolen minutes can reinforce very important behaviors and be a big step towards safety in your schools. When you can find this 5 or 10 minute period whenever and wherever it presents itself, there are a number of ways to use that time effectively. Discussion and simple brainstorming with your staff is a great way to begin this project. Have them bring in their emergency action checklists. That alone is a drill. If they can't find them, then we've learned something about that particular classroom. We need to have the most up-to-date emergency action checklists available to every instructor in every classroom. Have them bring in their Go Kits someday. Go through the Go Kits. Do we all remember what the contents are? Do you remember why those particular items were chosen for that particular Go Kit? Have the batteries been changed in flashlights or radios that might be stored there? How about a simple question? When was the last time you updated the student roster that should be kept in your Go Kit? Remember that Go Kit's what goes outside with you in an evacuation, and if we're going to do a head count, then you may well need an accurate student roster to help you remember each and every individual in your classroom that day. Simple questions such as, who's in charge if the principal's out of the building, can be great brainstorming and discussion items to include. Not strictly a drill, nevertheless, it supports and underlines the value of emergency planning and the amount of detail that goes into the work that we do in our emergency preparedness. Again, getting back to those 5 to 10 stolen minutes, Another powerful tool can be the "what would you do if" questions. For instance, what would you do if you hear a rumor that somebody is going to get somebody? What would you do if you see someone on school grounds with a weapon? What would you do right now if a perimeter lockdown were announced? What would you do right now if a full lockdown is ordered, but you have students outside the room? What would you do right now if a full lockdown is ordered during lunch or an assembly? The "what would you do now if" questions are endless. Leaf through your emergency action checklists. They're a great way to get staff to think quickly and reinforce the point that there are many, many different types of emergencies and iterations, and we all need to be thinking about them at all times. Again, in summation, sometimes the best drill is a very, very simple, brief activity measured in minutes. Using tools such as "what if" questions, pulling out your emergency action checklists, and picking up a particular page and discussing how a notification will take place, picking up a particular page and discussing the checklist actions expected of teachers or perhaps your custodial staff. All of these are legitimate, important activities that will strengthen your emergency preparedness and once again underline your commitment that this is an important thing for Charlotte schools in terms of our own welfare and in terms of our image and protection of the children of our community. Drills are a type of disaster exercise. As we've said before, they're at the simple end of exercising, but no less effective because of that. I remind you finally about that cycle of emergency planning, plan, train, exercise. We have plans written on paper. We train on those plans as we're doing now, and then we exercise by practicing and creating little simulated crises to practice our response to those crises. Drills are how we verify that our planning and training will result in the proper, effective action in a real emergency. Frequent, rigorous drills are a key part of our culture of preparedness. Use these valuable tools without fail. Again, we refer to that quote that I'll probably be referring to in every one of these videos. Failing to plan is planning to fail. Thank you very much for your time today.